little sip of Breckenridge.
Still drinking that.
Not a sponsor, but if you're listening, we'd love to. I'll take a bottle of Breckenridge. I'll give you a whole 10-minute commercial for Bob. Nice bottle of Breckenridge. Hey guys, welcome to the Modern Boomer Podcast. This is episode 3, right? I feel like it's no. Is it 4 now?
You're joking.
No, I am joking. I got you.
This is 5.
It's 5. Wow.
This is 5.
I'll be honest with you. I actually thought it was 6. So I figured if I shot low, then it wouldn't be so cringy if I shot too high.
Right. So we're basically the equivalent of the Star Wars prequels now.
Yeah. And for those who are watching, I've had a couple of head injuries over the years due to being stupid. Now you can say that, right? It's the other word that you can't say.
That's right.
But yeah, I've definitely, rode dirt bikes without helmets and other things that Doc here would tell you is not advised.
Definitely not advised.
And now my wife and I argue about dates that I forget on a consistent basis. So please wear your protection, kids, on all sides.
And put important dates in your phone. Put them in your calendar.
Oh, calendars.
Put them on your contacts. There's nothing wrong with a little help now and again.
No, and age doesn't help either, guys.
Right.
I'm letting you know now that's another doozy.
My bad thing is birthdays.
I'm so bad at birthdays. I'm surprised.
Destroys me.
I mean, I would say my first good marital argument was forgetting my wife's birthday and getting the phone call in the truck and being I knew it was coming up and I had something kind of in the works and she called me and I was like, I gotta overnight this back. Hey, UPS, help a brother. I gotta call 1-800 husband screw up hotline, and pull the red card and have them get whatever I needed. Yeah, it was not great.
Hey, and by the way, if you guys are watching this, we're gonna get that website, husbandscrewup.com.
Have you seen those where it's when husbands screw up and they call this 1-800 number and there's a tech support guy like Jake from State Farm?
Right. I remember there was a hilarious Christmas commercial. I think it was K Jewelers, and the guy buys his wife the wrong gift. It's completely the wrong gift. And it's a vacuum cleaner, right? And it's not even the box. It's wrapping paper in the shape of a vacuum cleaner. You know exactly what it is. And he's like, but it's a double bag. And she's like, the guy gets sent to the doghouse, which is this pretend thing that goes underground. There's a bunch of guys eating quiche down underground, and they're learning how to get in touch with their feminine side. The one guy bought his wife a Thigh Master. The other guy bought his wife a gym membership. And he bought the double bag vacuum. So they called him D-Bag, was his nickname in the commercial. It was hilarious. It was this 10 minute long commercial about learning what not to buy.
I've always loved those funny commercials. You remember the ship my pants?
Oh yeah, Kmart.
Kmart.
You can ship your pants.
I'm gonna ship my pants. I remember watching that.
I ship my bed.
I ship my pants. And there was one that was with gas. I forget the other one too. That was come up with good ones. But
those are great.
Use your calendars, guys. And you get a freebie from time to time, but don't be me. Don't be me who has to come up with excuses on the fly.
And when they ask you don't you know what it is, what today is? You got one chance to guess and get it right. And if you don't get it right, you'll be sitting next to the D-bag guy.
Eat some shitty quiche. I will say
I like
that,
quiche.
I mean, it depends on who makes it. If it's my mother-in-law's quiche, all day. If it's I don't know, the neighbors. I will say though, you always do the power deduction, guys. If you get a phone call and you're okay, well, so for me, August, okay. Well, only thing that's in August is my wife's birthday. Power deduction. Just a little tip of advice. You eliminate the amount of mistakes you potentially could make. Or
that's right.
Act like you lose a signal, which is possible here in Colorado. Buy yourself some time, come back. Anyways,
break it up. Is it
T-Mobile? I got T-Mobile, and they're awful. And I don't even know why I went to T-Mobile. We had AT&T because we thought they were awful. And we're like, nobody could be worse than AT&T. T-Mobile's worse than AT&T in Colorado, at least. Well, not to get too crazy, but we do have a pretty packed schedule here. I'm looking at our stuff.
We do. But I want to know real quick. You went to Vegas.
I did go to Vegas. Okay.
What'd you think of that?
I don't like Vegas. I'm not a Vegas
Really?
person. No, I don't like Vegas.
Oh,
But here's why. Here's why. No matter how much money you go to Vegas with, it's not enough money. It's not. It's not enough money. Everything wants your money in Vegas. There's not a single thing in Vegas that doesn't want to rob you blind. And if you're not a skilled Vegas night, I don't know what you want to call those. A regular, which I'm not a gambler, so like Vegas isn't like my regular go-to spot. You get caught up all the time. And I'm by no means I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I'm not an idiot, and I like my money,
right.
but like I'm hammered because my company said open bars all night, and I pick up the water bottles on the fridge in my room in the Aria. I'm thinking to myself,
No.
$7, maybe $8. It's a bottle of water. It was $15 a bottle of water. It was ridiculous. And then I wake up the next day. I'm not like hungover, like where I have a headache, and I don't vomit from drinking. Thank God. God bless me. Of all the stupid things he could have gave me that would have been helpful for society, he gave me a strong stomach with drinking. And
Good.
I know, and that ability to sweat. So thanks God for those worthless traits. But I wake up the next morning and I'm just like, where you just feel like your eyes are heavy. You just like, you feel like you're walking through molasses. And I'm like, I wake up next morning and I'm like, I need water and I need substance. I need like something to put in my mouth immediately. And they had these barbecue roasted almonds or something on there next to the water in the fridge. I'd grab both of those, and like right off the bat, that was $35 or something. And then
Brutal.
my coworkers, coaxed me into gambling, and I'm not a gambler. And I try to think, okay, I'm gonna be smart about it. But you're drunk, hammered. Let's just be honest, hammered. I was drinking vodka Red Bulls all night, and I didn't win. I lost about $600, but I was smart enough to like not break that again. So,
Right.
all in all, I told my wife. She's like, "It's gonna be expensive. Did you put money aside?" I'm like, "Nah, my company's gonna pay for everything. It's not a big deal." You're being emotional. $1,000 later, she's right. I'm wrong. So
Yeah. Get used
but
to that.
it was cool. It was like I've done to a lot of company trips, and this one was very Silicon Valley cliche. Girls in floaty balls in the pools doing acrobatics and standing on top of posts and fire costumes and a DJ, and every pillow by the pool in the Aria had our company logo on it. And I was, getting hammered with sales guys, learning way too much about the financial side of our business, and I should, but it was a good time. It's just cliche. And for those out there who've watched Silicon Valley, that show nails it on the head every single time. It was a Silicon Valley episode.
I have to watch that.
Yeah, I do. I recommend it. But 2 open bars. We got nice rooms at the Aria, all paid for. Trip was paid for. Everything was paid for. However, the lunches they provided, there was some, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, it was good. It was good all around. Outside that,
Good.
Fuck Vegas.
Oh man, Vegas is my happy place.
Why?
Oh
Why?
my God, I like to gamble, but I know when to stop, and I know when it gets crazy.
Do you what's your like losing limit? If you're gonna lose money, what's your losing limit?
Probably $500 to $700 a day.
Okay, so see, then I'm not that bad. I was in the realm of reasonable. Okay, well, but see, I'm so new to it, I feel guilty.
I play blackjack. I'll play some poker, but believe it or not, my guilty pleasure is high limit slots. So I'll play I'll play like 5, 10, 25, $50 a spin. And eventually I hit and I'll like bring in like $1,200, 2,000. And then
is that really the trick is high limit slots?
Yeah, listen, we are not gambling advice, so don't blame us. But I personally think that the higher limit slots hit more than the smaller pennies, because people don't feel bad losing pennies. It's just pennies. But when you lose like $50 a spin, you're only going to do that so many times before you're like, nah, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I tend to hit. I've had plenty of jackpots on that. I went in once to a casino in Pennsylvania. I was with my mom. I had like $50 in my pocket. I put it in a high limit slot. I pulled out $5,000, paid for my cruise, and said, let's get out of here. So stuff like that happens, but they mix it with alcohol that makes you do stupid things. It's all a part of the master plan.
I will say the thing that now in some of my coworkers' defenses, they're not used to the magical side of magical is the wrong word. The cringy and unexpected side of ladies of the night, ladies of the evening, escorts, call girls. You want to
They
call
are
it.
there.
They are. Well, see, they were really bad because there was 2 or 3 other full tech conferences there, other large tech companies, and they were all at the Aria using the conference halls, and a couple of them. And so the thing is like some of my first rodeos was an Army. See you, I know what you're doing. If you're talking to my fat, ugly, nerdy ass, and I know you're not real. So you know, some of my coworkers weren't seeing it. They're like, oh wow, so nice, you know. And I'm like trying to like give signals from the back, like, no bro, you know, don't do it, it's a trap. And I was talking to the bartender about it. He's like, yeah, every time there's a large amount of tech industry out here, this is a problem. Every night, numerous nights, all night long. And I'm like, it's kind of annoying though. Like, I just want to drink a beer. Leave me alone, you know?
They know their audience then.
I'm not going to. I mean, I guess. I mean, they went after. I mean, yeah, because some of those dudes are, you know, no offense, tech guys, but, you know, some of y'all swimming in a sea of virgins. We have a couple of women at my company who are fairly attractive. And one of them I know pretty well because I worked on her team for a while. And she's extremely intelligent. Worked for base systems, wrote software for satellites. Phenomenal engineer. However, not everybody is me or some of the other guys I work with who have had, you know, married, did the college thing, had a good time. And it's fun to watch like these guys fall around like a puppy dog sometimes. Like, I feel so bad. I'm like, HR is a violation any minute now. I'm waiting for like a ref to come out and throw like a flag on the field and call a play.
And the big hook that takes them off the stage.
Seriously. I mean, it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. But yeah, the call girls are funny. One of my coworkers is kind of new to it, and they were really trying to get him, and he was kind of falling for it. And I was like, no, $600 for 2 of them. No, they're gonna stab you and take your wallet, bro. Don't get out of here. I don't know from experience. Anybody who may be watching, I don't know from experience. I know from other people's experience and growing up on the wrong side of the tracks. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, I digress. It was a good time. I would love to go to Vegas with you. I would love to go to Vegas with some of our friends who I know closely, who in the moment of panic or necessary, the bailout's there, or if I need help, it's there. But when I'm by myself with coworkers and I'm the one who's trying to keep them out of the water, it's very stressful. So not my thing. But yeah, we should go sometime.
All right, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, that took way more. Took way more.
That's okay. It's okay. It's our show.
It's true. It is our show, but we do.
God damn it, it's our show.
God damn it. We do have a pretty full schedule, though. We do have a pretty full schedule. So, a couple things we're going to talk about. And the first one on the list, the first one that we both were like, we should talk about is Musk and Twitter.
Right. So, what was the original price of that? That was what, 44 billion? That was the original price that Musk was going to pay?
Like that. Yeah, something like that.
So now
they tried to poison him out of it.
Right. So now I wish I sold my Twitter stock. It's dropped about 30%. Because you know, I believe it was the Twitter administration said that it was less than 5% bots or fake accounts or dual accounts or whatever.
It's way more.
Elon sees through their lies and thinks it's much, much more. So he wants whatever percentage added is bots to be that percentage less to the deal.
He knew.
Yeah. So now he kind of has them over the coals now, right? Because now they want to sell. Right. Now they want to sell. And the big salesman doesn't have to go through the deal. Apparently it's some sort of $1 billion fine if he doesn't go through with the sale because he signed an agreement of sale. But in the grand scheme of Techno Lord Musk, I think that's probably not that big of a deal.
No, and I think he's just
trying to get the price down.
Oh, 100%. He's playing the game. I think he knows that this is a time where he can squeeze the shirt, a little more moisture out, you know, a little more juice from the apple. And I'm glad he's doing it. I don't want to be that guy, but it's cool to watch Twitter squirm. Sorry if you're a Twitterite, and you know.
And lo and behold, in perfect timing, like, you know, these sexual harassment allegations happened to kind of
Against
rise to
who?
the top of the foam against Elon.
Well, get
Have you
out of
seen that?
here.
Yeah, look that
Get
up.
out of here.
Look that up.
Oh, I'm going to have to do that.
It's very apropos, right? That something like that would happen now. So, there's all this stuff, and I don't know all the whole
After
kit and
Amber
caboodle about
Heard,
this.
I don't believe it. That's a little shit. I don't know. And I don't want to minimize women who've gone through it. I've known some. I think we've all have close ones in our family who've had that. It's a reality, but I don't fucking believe you about soft Papa Elon. The man's got hair plugs. Okay, he's not hurting anybody.
I heard I think the accusation was that somebody was hired strictly to give him massages or something like that.
Was it Amber Heard?
And maybe.
Sorry.
And
sorry.
he wanted a massage, and I guess like he wasn't wearing clothes, but most people I know don't wear clothes under the sheet of massages, but I think he wanted a happy ending. And
you go down to the one that says massage parlor in the strip mall.
I don't know if he got the happy ending or if he just asked for the happy ending.
Where's the proof though? How do you prove that?
Well, I think that's what's the problematic in our whole, our whole cancel culture right now is that the burden of proof doesn't seem to be that important. It's like a he said, she said argument with frequently men tend to be more guilty till proven innocent as far as the way
it ruins your life
go in the media.
I mean, that's why Depp's suing her. It ruined his life.
Right.
Everybody believed her immediately, and now we're at court, and like her horrible acting is not any better in the witness stand. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I've been watching that a lot more too.
I watch those cases. See, I've always wanted to be a lawyer.
Right.
Deep down inside, I've always wanted to be a lawyer. Like it's my dream job. If I could somehow quit software engineering and be a lawyer tomorrow, I would do it. I like the confrontation. It'd be cool to get people to like squirm in their chairs. But yeah, it's Depp's legal team. Holy moly,
they're pretty good.
Elon, hire them. Hire Vasquez and those people because I've never seen somebody say objection so many times and then
I know
and then get it. But like they're asking dumb questions. You can't ask like client attorney privilege questions. You can't lead. You can't ask hearsay. You like there's so many things that they're doing that's blatant. And I'm not an experienced lawyer. I've done the
You've done the Google School of Lawyer?
No, what do they call
the YouTube School of Lawyer?
I've done the test.
The bar? You took the bar?
No. The one that's for that one to make sure you're smart enough to be a lawyer. That one, and I did okay on it.
That's cool.
What do they call it? The LSAT or the
LSAT? I think.
Yeah.
I think I don't know.
Or the LCAT or something like that. And I'm like screwing it up, right? But anyways, like it's. I don't know. It's rough, but I hope Elon needs to hire them because
I was watching. Better. What's a really good thing to watch, everybody, if you a lot of it is I'm not a lawyer, so some of it goes over my head, but watch lawyers reacting to these videos.
That's what I'm doing. Rakita Law, by the way, shout out to him.
Yeah, because that's where you kind of learn, and they're like, the whole point of all these objections is to just like destroy the momentum of the questioning and try to stop the release of information.
Right.
So you get a couple questions answered. You may not get what you want out of the question. The questions don't necessarily have any actual thread, and it's just it's just destructive.
You're faltering the information coming out because a jury knows what hearsay is, or they should for the most part. And if you like say objection hearsay, you're like, hearsay is just like I'm saying something that I have no way to prove it. It's just a merit of verbiage. There's no validity to it, right? You can't, and it's when you do stuff like that, if they know what you're doing, they're like, okay, you're just talking out your ass, right? And yeah, it's about the momentum. It's derailing the train for sure. But I mean, like Johnny's Depp team is like beating him down. And actually, if you watch them closely, they're annoyed by how bad her team's performing because the things that they're doing are like so blatant that that it should not be happening for a professional legal team, for professional lawyers who've done numerous trials. They should know way better to do what they're doing, and they're doing it anyways. And they're about to bring a lawyer, Johnny Depp's previous lawyer, on the witness stand. and they're going to ask all these questions pertaining to another issue. But what they don't realize is that anytime they ask a question about him and Johnny Depp, it can be denied under attorney-client privileges. Yeah, so they're going to waste their little, because you get, a lot of people don't know, but you get a limited amount of time per side in a courtroom. It's like 34 hours or whatever you paid for. I don't know how it works. I've not gone to jerk, that level of legal before, but they're going to put him up there, and he's just going to say no to everything. And then when they do the cross-examination, they're going to wind down his clock. So, I mean, it's they're shooting for the stars, and then they're not going to make it, and then Johnny Depp's team's going to come in there, and they're going to drive the clock down like a football game.
And I just want to just make sure that it's really important that we're not anti-feminists. So that's the whole point here. But I do find it interesting because of all the stuff I've watched recently. Like, Amber Heard continually talks about like really bad thing A, really bad thing B, really bad thing C. And all of the information that they can pull that's actual factual recorded conversations, if people saw her beat up, talking about whether or not he was choking her, like, they never, on all these recorded conversations, she alludes that this was the topic, but that statement is never really said in anything that's recorded.
No.
So it really hurts her argument, because she'll say, oh yeah, we were arguing about, I don't know, this fight. And oh, this is the fight where like he penetrated you with a bottle.
Yeah.
But they talk about this fight. But wouldn't you think that might come up in a taped conversation between the two of them about it? Doesn't come up.
Yeah, and like, she goes back to his house.
Just weird.
I don't know, man. If somebody shoved a glass bottle up my ass, I don't know if I would go back and hang out with that person ever
Let
again.
alone a broken one.
Ever again. It's just obscure, and like just some other things that she's saying were like, he got up and he punched me in the face, and I turned around and said, Johnny, you hit me. So he punched in the face. You turn around, you talking on the door now, or like, what are we talking to? Or like, he balled up his fist and he headbutted me, and you're like, wait, what? Wait, was it a juke? Like, oh, she just says some stuff, and then I don't know. Then you should watch the one today where they brought on the physician. He looks like, I don't know.
He looked a little. What's the word?
Somebody should show him the invention of the comb. It's a brilliant invention.
It's like, he kind of reminds me of like kind of the absent-minded professor. He's got like the crazy hair, and he's like got the kind of.
He's like the skinny dude from Back to the Future.
His body language is like weird.
Yeah, well, and they had him all riled up too immediately, which is what you do as a lawyer. Is just get them riled because it makes you look like the asshole. So,
so they have a conversation. They don't. All these really horrific things that she alleges aren't in any of the taped conversations, but other things that surround it. Like if you said, well, we got into a fight and I locked you in a room and then I beat you up for 20 minutes. All they talk about is being locked in a room. And that's what's on tape. So I just find that really odd.
Yeah, too, and like the pictures she had and stuff. Like,
yeah, then they brought like 5 witnesses who around the time when she was beat up, and not one of them can attest that they saw any evidence of it. So I'm not saying that she didn't put good makeup on. I'm not saying that, but Amber Heard's team needs like concrete proof that some of these things occurred from people other than the two of them. You need outside people. I saw this. I saw that. Here's a recording of this. Here's a video of that. I don't know.
I as someone who's been punched in the face more than once,
not at Vegas, though.
No, not at Vegas. In my younger years, I don't fight any more guys. I was a dumb kid in my 20s in high school, but you get hit in the face, it's not just like a little bruise that you cover so easily with makeup. Yeah, there's swelling, and I'm sure there's makeup you can do with color matching and things like that to hide it. But the stuff she was showing where her face was immaculately skinny, I don't believe that. I've been hit in the face where my face was swollen for hours, if not days. So, and that's why I know they're a grown man, and I've hit men who had swollen face. You know what I mean? Like my wife and I were talking about it, and we're listening to some of that stuff, and my wife was like, if you hit me in the face, I would die. You know what I mean? I'm a lot bigger than she is. I'm a big man. You know what I mean? So like, if I balled up my fist and swung as hard as I could, There's no way you're just gonna go to a Met Gala the next day and like not be out of it. And then how go from I have a broken nose to, oh no, I thought I had a broken nose. No. You'll know if you have a broken nose. You would know if you had a broken nose. You know what I mean? No blood or anything. I don't know. And then like all the stuff is showing that she's the abuser. There's more evidence that she's the abuser than he is. And then playing on like, oh, you're a man, you can't, nobody's gonna believe you. Like that hits me. That hit me pretty hard because men can easily be abused, especially in modern society, because none of them want to pipe up, because in our culture you're bad if you're weak. Exactly. So and women can hit hard. I've been punched in the face by a woman before. It's uncomfortable.
Oh, I've been hit too. It's not fun. But yeah, I mean, it's true, and I think that's something. I think I may have brought this up before, but like Steve Jobs said when he was talking about the antenna issue on the iPhone, I think it was like the 4 or the 5, and remember, like, if you held the phone, they said that the band power went down, and they had what they called it antenna gate, and there was all these like things, and Steve Jobs said, well, if you believe the old rule, it's got to get worse before it gets better. That would apply here. And that never rang more true than the way society's acting today. I think that eventually, when the pendulum swings far enough to a direction where people are be like, all right, this can't go any further. Like, that's when stuff will start to come back.
It's like that quote, but it goes, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. And we're in that point where weak men are creating hard times, and at some point that's going to switch, and it's going to be hard times, and hopefully the hard men will come out and handle business. But I'm really tired of all the stuff going on, especially the calls for violence. Joe Rogan, and again, I'm not trying to be, I don't have, don't step on Sneck band or anything like that. I'm not that crazy. But Joe Rogan had a Navy SEAL on his podcast. I like to watch the military guys. And he was talking about all the calls for violence, especially during like the Chaz Chop situation, and all these people on Twitter calling to like go to the judges' homes over Roe v. Wade, which, come on, guys, that's a legal precedence. It's nothing to do with abortions or people. It's literally about the fact that we have foundational, infrastructural, constitutional law, and everything built on top of that has to make sure it fits in that structure. If it doesn't, it has to be brought down and rebuilt. And there's other things that we can complain about. I digress. But they're like, all these people call for violence, but the people who call for violence don't know real violence. If you know what real violence looks like, you're not really going to go out there and ask for it, because it's not what you want it to be. You know what I mean? So,
it's more about the people being violent, but not necessarily probably receiving such violence back.
Well, no, but it's like people go out there and they perceive violence in one way, but real violence is not what you see on TV. It's not what you think you're going to get your renegade justice. It's brutal. It's the dark side of humanity. It's the things you see in war. It's the things you see in, gang related neighborhoods, things like that, where, people are doing such horrific things that if a horror movie turns your stomach, then you're not going to be able to handle real violence, because it's things that and you're an ER doctor. I mean, how many times do you see guys come in from gunshot wounds or horrible fights or people running each other over? I mean, and that's just a taste of what real violence is. So people need to stop calling for it, because what happens is you're going to go out there and you're going to do what you think is violent, and then you're going to get the real people who know real violence. They're going to come out and they're going to show you real violence, and it's going to be horrific, and it's going to be a horrible part of our time in society, and you don't want that. You don't want that.
I saw such horrible violence in Baltimore, Maryland, when I was doing training.
That's a pretty rough area.
Yeah, and I was just like in the burn ward, and you'd see like these people who like get into a fight with like their wife or their girlfriend, and literally just like throw a scotch on them and like light them on fire. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Yeah. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't condone it, but watch like a war movie or like a documentary on war or something. You want to talk about violence. You want to talk about, like when Saving Private Ryan came out, the VA actually set up a hotline, for post-traumatic stress disorder response, because it was so realistic And those scenes where like the dude's walking around trying to find his arm, I mean, that's not unrealistic. You know what I mean? Like the try, so that's violence. Hiding bombs and bodies, that's violence. You don't want that. You don't want that kind of stuff. And those are the things that happen when humanity breaks down, because and the thing is, it's a loud minority of people. You go and you talk to the average person, they don't think that way. You know what I mean? Right. So I don't know. Please buy Twitter, Musk. Please buy Twitter.
Yeah.
And I think people should fight more verbally. Fight with your words, not with your fists. Let's have conductive conversation, guys.
And listen. I think you brought that up. I mean, if no one sits back and listens, then nothing is ever going to get solved.
If you don't have disagreements,
isn't helpful.
Yeah, echo chambers don't change time. It's like if water flew in the same direction, it would never form rivers, valleys. The earth would never change. The fact that, the momentum bends and hits and corners, that's why rivers turn, and there's why shape, and you need that conflict. You know what I mean? So yeah,
it's very philosophical.
Yeah, we got a little pulled away. I'm pulling up our thing.
So Elon Musk.
Yeah, so Elon Musk, buy Twitter. Keep an eye on that, guys. And if you're in the investment field, I wouldn't say liquidate your Twitter shares. I have a strong. I'm a bull by nature, so I have
holding it.
I think Elon's gonna pull through. I think it's gonna shoot up. There's a lot of people with a lot of money investing in this, and those people are smart, and they're not gonna do it. They wouldn't do it if there wasn't some merit in it. So nobody gives me billions of dollars because they want to lose money.
That's true.
So
that's true.
Excuse me.
So you to switch gears a little bit, you got the bike.
I did.
Tell us about the bike, and tell us what you've been doing with the bike.
Yeah, so day one we go, and so the bike that I actually got is not the one that I ordered. I ordered a 2022 Panigale V4S, and it's red. It's like that sweet Ducati red, but it kept getting delayed, and Ducati in North America was like, we think this time, we don't know. And then like a week before it's supposed to show up, Ducati North America is like, we don't know, which like it should be in the country by then. If it's going to be here on the 20th, it should have been in the country by the 13th, right? I need we need the VINs and stuff, State of Colorado doesn't work quick in that aspect with car sales and purchase, things like that. So I was starting to feel kind of weird about it, and they still haven't got it actually.
Wow.
So the guy knew I was just kind of feeling iffy, and I was looking around at other dealerships here in Denver who may have more pull. I called Ducati AMS out of Dallas, and I was like, hey, do you guys have anything in shipment? And everybody's like, no. So I was starting to feel kind of crappy, and then I get a call in the bathroom, right? But I'm so desperate for my bike that I answer the phone anyway. Sorry. Sorry, Ducati dealership. And the guy was like, hey, listen, I got 2 bikes in today. They're both 2021s, but they're brand new. They came from another store of ours. They were sold. The guy who bought them didn't end up picking them up because he's going through a divorce. He bought 2 bikes. He bought a Panigale V4S and a Panigale V4SP, which, if you don't know, that's about out the door. That's about $90,000 in motorcycle that he bought. So I guess he's going through a rough divorce. So I was like, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait, and then I get back from the DMV because I have failed. So I rode motorcycles illegally for a long time. Please don't do that, guys. Go down and just get your license. And I went and I passed the MSF. We talked about that, and I kept going down, and they're like, you need to make appointments because of COVID. And despite that, everybody in there's like coughing each other's mouths now because it doesn't exist anymore, right? And they're like, you make an appointment. So I made an appointment, or my wife's like, I made you an appointment. Well, she didn't. She didn't click confirm or something. So I go down there again. They're like, you don't have an appointment. I'm like, fuck. So no. she's like, I don't know what happened to the appointment, So like, we make another one. So I go back down and I get my endorsement added or whatever, and I'm riding home, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go look. Like, something hit my feelings. I was like, I'm just going to go look. So I go down there and I look, and I definitely didn't want the 2021 V4S, but the V4SP, a lot of people know is that there's a limited manufacturer amount of V4SPs. And what they do is they have the V4R, which is like their super bike. They're really they're $80,000 out the gate, kind of expensive. and then the V4S, and they mash them together, and it's like a bunch of carbon fiber that gets moved over, and they're the only black Ducatis you can buy is the V4S piece. And they have a couple, but like they're rare. Ducati doesn't do black. This is the only black ones you can really buy. And I fell in love with the bike immediately. Now it was about $9,900 more, $10,000 more than the bike I had purchased because it's so rare, despite being a year old. That's the thing too, is like just like Ferrari and Lamborghini, Ducati holds that value for a long time. So even though it was a year old, it had no miles on it. It was in mint condition.
New bike.
It was a
Right.
brand new bike. Yeah, it's brand new. And they were like, we'll give it to you for this. And I was like, let me go home and sit on it. I went home. I couldn't find another one of those bikes for the price I paid for it. I found one for $8,000 more and one for almost $15,000 more. And I literally called the guy the next day. I was like, I'll take it. So I went down there and I bought it. But no, it's been fantastic. It's the fastest motorcycle I've ever owned by a large margin. And I've owned leader bikes a couple times, 750s, things like that. And it has technology that would make any nerd cream their pants. It does things that I didn't think a motorcycle could do. Traction control, anti-lock brakes, lean angle, power management, wheelie control, launch control. I mean, the thing will literally flash at you if you're leaning at certain degrees under certain speeds. It's all dynamic suspension, which means it electronically adjusts the front and back suspension to help manage your driving experience or if you're on the track. And then the SP is all carbon fiber. So carbon fiber wheels, carbon fiber everywhere. So I bought it, I got on it, and I about shit my pants day one. And that was in the low power mode. So it's been a trip. I feel so bad for our community. I was like, I'm going to record the exhaust installation video. It's going to be great. I was so excited. And then like I got down there and you start taking the plastics off something that cost the price of a 2022 luxury SUV. And I completely lost train of thought. And then my neighbor came over, who, shout out to him. He's an EOD guy from back in the day. And you know when people come over and talk to you and you're like, I want to get back to what I'm doing, but you want to be rude. So like you talk for way too long. Yeah. So we got sidetracked, but it's been fun. The moto vlogs have been fun. Right now I'm taking it down to the dealership next couple of days to get the final attachment stuff thrown on it. And I need to get my ergonomics done because I'm hurting a little bit. The original setup is not for a 6'1", dude, at my weight. Yeah, I've done some peg adjustments, but it's really hard to get them by yourself. So it's been good. Watch the motovlog, guys. That first episode's out. I apologize. It's pretty I threw it together. This is like the 9th revision of it. The footage was rough because I wasn't talking. I was like trying to figure out all the different things. But the episode 2 I'm working on right now, it's a lot better. And then I've started some of episode 3. And I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised.
Especially when you jump through the ring of fire.
Yeah, well, actually, I was on my way to get some margaritas with a buddy of mine, and this guy in a brand new GTR was like, "Hey, you wanted to tussle." I was like, "You're not gonna win. You're not gonna win that." I didn't even give him the time of day. And then I got some funny videos of some high school kids in a truck that wanted to race. I'm like, "This bike does 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, so you're not gonna beat that. That's not possible." But it's been fun. I got some.
I watched one of the pre-production videos. It was entertaining. It was nice to see Colorado like that, and it was nice to see the bike in action. I look forward to it. It was, it's just sometimes there's just something about the video just kind of pulls you into it, and you're just like, it's interesting. It's funny. It's cool to see the landscape because I've never been to Colorado. There's just a lot of positives to it, so I'm excited about it.
I actually went through some effort because a lot of guys keep their cameras a little low so you can see a lot of the bike. And as much as a Ducati is great to look at, I'm trying to show you guys the area that I live in. Northern Colorado is very beautiful, and albeit it's developing, but there's a lot of history here. And actually, on episode 3 coming out, I'm actually going to take you guys up to, I like to call it the Shire. The Fort Collins Shire. It's this back road. Actually, we have to go past a multi-100-year-old cemetery to get to it. And we'll talk about the history. I've actually started writing some history notes down. But you drop out in this valley, and if you don't know that it's there, you wouldn't know how to even get there. So I have a lot of cool stuff for you guys to show. And I even have some safety videos. A couple of my friends are like, "Oh, I'm talking about buying a bike." And I'm like, you know what? There's a ton of videos out there, but all of them are funny and memey. And it's like, I just kind of want to talk to you guys. Like, you can still be cool and be safe. So, but yeah, look out. Be patient with episode 1. That was a trial and error, cameras, audio, just testing the waters. But episode 2 and episode 3, they're going to be a lot better, guys. I
I
promise.
thought it was good.
Yeah.
Oh, then nowhere to go but up then.
I hope.
I always wanted a motorcycle, and I don't mean to scare you with the story, but I'll tell the story for the viewers. But I remember I was in Baltimore again, interestingly enough.
Well, I don't know if I'd ride my bike in Baltimore.
So, again, there's a couple things that are at play here that the Damo doesn't have in his stories. So, a guy was running from the cops. Problem 1.
Yeah, not going to find that. I'm not going to find that in my episodes.
Intoxicated. Problem 2. At a high rate of speed, weaving in and out of traffic in the city. Problem 3. Gets into an accident. And in Baltimore, a lot of the traumas are actually done by the state police, who happen to be the flight medics. So they have these helicopters that will actually kind of land in the city and take off from the city and fly. Really cool. Oh yeah, it's a big deal, and fly. This was it's a long time ago, but it would fly to the roof of University of Maryland, and we would. I saw this guy, and he's yelling and screaming, and it wasn't my patient or anybody I was dealing with, but you hear the commotion, and what's going on over there. So you come over because you're part of the trauma team, but you may not be on that particular patient case, but you'll help out, because sometimes people, if they're drunk, they're a little rowdy. You got to keep your staff safe.
A little handsy, yeah. I get you.
Keep the patient safe. So guys like cursing and yelling, and I'm like looking at him. There's blood everywhere, and I'm looking at him like, is it me, or does this guy not have arms? And it was like, and I'm like, no, this guy has no arms, or he has no right arm. And then I walk on the other side. Oh, he has no left arm either. So he literally lost both arms at the shoulder.
That's crazy.
The transplant orthopedist comes down. It's like 3 a.m. He's like rubbing his eyes.
He's like, I don't want to fucking be here right now.
He's called down. He's looking around the room. I'm like, what's he looking for? And there's a bag in the corner.
It's a trash bag of arms.
Looks in the bag. Closes the bag. He's like, no, these are too mangled to replace. They'll replant. So
you gotta be careful.
I wanted that bike. I wanted that bike until I saw that, and I know that I wouldn't ever ride a motorcycle without a helmet, or ride a motorcycle intoxicated, or run from the police. But I just got nervous, and it was just me, and I didn't want to do it.
Let me spit some facts real quick, because I had to defend my honor a little bit when I bought one.
Share me some education.
So over 75%, over 70% of motorcycle accidents, and it's a higher number in that. I don't know the real one, so I'm gonna dip low, because I'd rather dip low than guess too high. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Margin of error. I'm gonna take it on the shoulder for that one. Over 70% of motorcycle accidents are rider caused. And even the ones that aren't rider caused, a higher percentage of those could have been prevented if the rider had been either properly trained, following the law, or in the mix between the both of like understanding the motorcycle and the nature of the situation, right? Mm-hmm. The other thing too that people don't realize is that it's like over 90% of motorcycle accidents happen off the freeway. And they did a bunch of safety evaluations in California and found out that freeway driving is the safest for motorcycles, because everybody's going in one direction. There's no intersections, no stop signs, things like that. Right. It's very limiting, right? But I'll tell you what, the problem is that people get on these bikes, especially sport bikes like the Ducati, for example, and it will do some phenomenal things because physics. The bike does not want to fall over at speed. It wants to stay upright. And you can manipulate those physics to turn and lean and go quick. And, one of the things that I'm sure people, think I'm an asshole for is that when I first get on the bike, I kind of do this like back and forth motion. And that's not to be a show off dick. It's to keep the tires warm.
You're heating your tires. Yeah.
Yeah. They need to warm up so that when I do get in and start going around corner stuff, there's no chance for slippage. But people understand that like these bikes are so precisely engineered that they're really meant for a racetrack. They're meant for the street. And so if you're going around a corner, you're running from the police doing 100 miles an hour and you're making sharp turns, all it takes is for you to tap your front brake and offset the way the bike is being set on the road, and you're going to go under. You're going to high side, you'll low side. If you're going around a corner too quick and you hit the rear brake too hard, you're going to fishtail. There's so many things that can go wrong, and you have to be a skilled rider. You have to understand what you're doing to do that. And it was like when I was at the MSF, it blew my mind how many people did not know how to counter steer. I'm like, how do you ride your motorcycle if you don't know how to counter steer? It blows my mind. So I tell people, yes, riding a motorcycle is dangerous. Wear a helmet, and don't buy a cheap helmet. Get an Arai, get an Icon, get a Guia or a whatever the Italian brand is. Get these ones that have the Stell and their dot standards and all that kind of stuff, because they're meant to handle abuse. I think like my Arai helmet's like racetrack speeds. Like it can handle racetrack speed impacts. Most dot is like 20 miles an hour, and then that's it, which 20 miles an hour is nothing. So get a vest. Please get a vest. At least wear pants, which is what I do. It's not going to save all your skin, but your head's what matters first. Your head and your hand matters first. Skin can be grafted. Sorry, it's the truth. But just know what you're doing. Ride the same routes. Know your city. Know your area. And if you don't know where you're at, don't be stupid. Go slow. Take your time. Learn the area. You're playing on something that's very fast and very dangerous. And you should be honored that you want to learn the science and the skills behind it. Because it's one thing to get on a motorcycle and be like, oh, I look cool. Sure, I can get and do 215, 220 miles an hour on my motorcycle. Don't. That's dumb. You know what I mean? Don't weave in and out of traffic. Don't do those kind of things. And, just be smart about it. There's so much resource online. There's so many resources online of people who will tell you how to, be alert and be expective and, just be smart about it, guys. Have fun. Enjoy your bike. Learn the science behind it. But be smart about it. And like I wear most gear, and honestly, the only reason I'm not wearing pants is because they're all sold out where I live, and I'm on a waiting list.
Really?
I'm on a waiting list for my pants. I'm on a waiting list for my pants. I'm on a waiting list for my my airbag vest, the Tech Air from Alpine. So I have an Alpine jacket. I have an Arai helmet. I have riding shoes from Alpine. Shoes are important too. Gloves, things like that. So do what you can, guys, but just be careful. Watch your resources and have fun. They're incredible machines, but just be smart about it. Right. Nobody can see you act that way. And don't lose your arms. Don't lose your arms.
Yes, don't lose it. They're important. Yeah. Because imagine when you got to scratch your nose in the morning.
I was thinking more like you're not going to rub your one out yourself, and then you have no arms. Nobody's going to do it. Nobody's going to want to do it for you either at this point. So it's a lose-lose, guys. All for that, 2:00 in the morning, 100-mile-an-hour pull. It's not worth it, Right. Yeah. Anyways, I digress.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and we'll be tuning in, and make sure you check out the channel, because the channel, if you look at the website now, the channel is going to be separated by kind of topic or subject matter. So I mean, you're going to always have this podcast at the top, some specials like interviews or collaborations, or you're going to see the We Plays. You're going to see moto vlog, other stuff, but definitely, I mean, there's going to be something for everybody, which is all what we're trying to build. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Well, so let me stop talking about the bike, because one of the things that motorcyclists should know is that nobody actually cares about your motorcycle except for you. So be excited about it. Don't overtalk it. People don't care. That's the other tip of advice I'll give you. But talking about collaborations, I know it's a lot of order on our messages to each other, but we have something with Star Citizen coming up.
Yeah,
which should be pretty exciting. As we kind of get our place in the social media world, and we're making content, and we're figuring who we are out. And I know, guys, we got a lot of stuff that's out there, and there's episodes of it, and it's been like, wow, there's been some time. We're trying, guys. We're trying. There's only 2 of us and a lot of work hours, and we're getting there. But we do try. We're always looking for games that are going to be fun, that should have good laughs, and we wanted to play Star Citizen. And we tried to play with some friends, and they all had mental meltdowns because of the game's state. However, there's a gentleman online, and I'm not going to release his name. Go wait to the video. It's a gentleman online who does a lot of Star Citizen content, and Doc reached out to him, and he was so kind to us and so welcoming, and was so just immediately out the gate interested in doing something with us. So look out for that. That should be kind of fun, because I need somebody to hold my hand to that game. Because right now, all I know is that it's really buggy, and that we spend more time trying to work around the bugs than playing the game. So hopefully he has a solution.
So the thing that's interesting about Star Citizen, and I know Star Citizen gets shit on a lot, but it's one of those games, and you guys have all been here before, I guarantee it. There's these games that look like so much fun, But just, I'm going to go back to when games had boxes. Remember we were talking about when games had boxes in the past?
Those are the best.
You,
the jewel
you would
cases.
look up, you'd pick up that game, and it was heavy. And that's because there was a big ass manual in there. And there was a ton of stuff to know. And Star Citizen is one of those games.
We need a Bible.
There is. I mean, you have flight commands. You have,
it would look like this. This would be Star Citizen's manual.
Right.
You tried to.
It'd be like, you have attack mode, you have like mining mode. Then there's, how to work on foot, how containers work, how weapons work, how loading your inventory works.
Yeah.
How airlocks work.
It's crazy,
right? Because last time I played, I actually got in my ship. I didn't have my helmet on because I had to eat a burrito, right? As one would do. You can't, realism. You can't eat the burrito through the helmet, so you got to take the helmet off, eat the burrito, and then remember that some space stations, your ship is basically on the planet's surface, so you have atmosphere, so you can go outside, you can walk onto the landing pad. There's no issue until you take off, fly to a moon, fly to a different, satellite, a space station or someplace without atmosphere. Now you got to get out of your ship.
Yeah, you need oxygen to live. You need oxygen. Right.
So, of course I opened up my ship and it was like, and I quickly like ran for the door and I made it with like 8% health left. And I'm like, okay, this is a big space station. I'm just going to buy a new helmet. Well, guess what? There's no space station helmets for sale at that location.
And we're all broke too, because I've died a billion times.
So we need to know like the value proposition of the game over the bugs. That's like the first thing. The second thing is like, pretend the bugs weren't there. Like, what is the most amount of fun you get out of this, and what do you like to do? Maybe there's things that we could do that we don't even know because it's so vast.
How do I avoid prison? How to avoid doing time? Because I've done time twice now in that game.
Yeah, so my friend Soviet, he actually, we'll talk about him in a minute with another segment we have. But he literally played it for 15 minutes. He stopped his ship outside of a planet. He got pulled over for scanning by the authorities, and all of a sudden they open fire at him. And the next thing he knows, he's in jail, and he's like, "I'm done." He just turned it off. It was that. It doesn't
give you any direct. So the thing is, it doesn't give you any direction, right? And it's hard to tell what is a bug and what is not. And I think there's some frustrations because the game is, the game has been in development, longer than some of Gen Z kids have been alive.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars have gone into development, and the AI stack on top of each other, and waypoint markers don't show up. There's a lot of very serious core bugs that should have been targeted, yet they're still releasing ships and planets. It's like, stop, fix the bugs, fix the core bugs.
Yeah, fix the things that make the gameplay doable, enjoyable.
Yeah, I want to shoot people, and I don't want them to teleport around or teleport in front of me and then not realize that they're friendly because they teleport in front of me, kill them, and then go to prison for 240 hours or whatever ridiculous.
That was the other thing. We did a mission. It was really cool. We landed the ship. We hear all this gunfire going on. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. Yeah, we got inside. We took elevator down. We start shooting everybody, but apparently some of them are the authorities. Who knew?
I mean, I knew.
Did you go to jail?
I kind of knew because it mentioned it in the mission briefing, but
did it?
But the thing is they're teleporting around. They're not. There's no fluid movement, so your brain's acquisition of information is so limited. And in a game where they can shoot you and not be visible, you So there's a lot of things that he could fix. So
this guy was a big Elite Dangerous player, and his statement I saw in one of his videos is like he did everything he wanted to do, and he's been playing this, and he gets a good following on Twitch. He's on Twitch. I believe he has a YouTube channel as well, but he's primarily based on Twitch. So we're gonna do like an interview with him, and then he's gonna kind of show us the ropes. We're gonna probably call it Heroes Helping Hobos or something to that effect. That will be. We're gonna try to record that next week, so that should be fun. We'll see what kind of trouble we can get into in the verse.
And it's going to be one of our best productions. So give us some time, guys, to like put it together and get some stuff out. We're going to really try to put some stuff together for everybody. It's going to be fun. But I like Star Citizen, and I want it to succeed. If that game functioned, if it had the same amount of progress that Tarkov had, that's the thing, is Tarkov is an extraordinarily complicated video game, and it dwarfs Star Citizen in functionality. Now, don't get me wrong, Tarkov has its bugs. Okay,
Right.
I'm not saying it doesn't, but it doesn't have bugs like this. So I want the game to work, and I own Elite Dangerous, and I have the shooting mod, and everything's great, and I love it, but it does feel emptier. Star Citizen has this weird vibe to it where almost it could be a second life. If you could play that game in VR, you could live in that world 100%.
I watched a video. This is like the complexity of Star Citizen when it works. So you can get tanks now. I don't know if you know this, but there's like basically these air kind of motorcycles you can have. You can have a couple different kind of ground vehicles, and you can actually have a tank. So what they did was if you have a big enough ship, no, we can't afford the tanks. But if you buy a big enough ship, you can actually like roll the tank into the cargo bay of the ship, right? Makes sense. But like what they tried to do is, it's a cool idea. They're like, let's take the ship into space, get into a dogfight. I'm going to open the cargo bay door. You're going to be in the tank, and you're going to shoot this guy in space with the tank. And you know what? It freaking worked. So like, you literally
Michael Bay, J.J. Abrams, you know?
He dropped the freaking cargo bay door, and the guy's inside, and boom, shoots this cannon out of the back of it, and actually hit the other ship and destroyed it. So it's like, that's, if all that stuff works like that, I mean, it is a world. You can do a lot of crazy crap.
Well, and like the worlds are beautiful, like the complicated cities. It's like just anything, and like if they just flush it out, they need to add player housing and some things like that. But I mean, like, you remember the first time I played Star Wars Galaxies, and you can go into space, and you can get multiple people on a ship, and you could land and build a city and all those things like that. I mean, that game stole my life for 11 years because it had that much content in it, right?
Jump to light speed. Yeah.
God, I didn't eat for a week to buy that game. It was like $20 at the time too. So, but I digress.
It's like 30 ramens.
Yeah, that's a lot of lunches, But yeah, so I'm excited to play with him. It should be a great time. I'm looking forward to getting his knowledge on it. And I bet you he's got a lot of tips and pointers that will help us get around the bugs. And once we know those things, I think the game will be more manageable. However, Starson, if you're listening, get your shit together, okay? Please, for the love of God and humanity.
Yeah.
We need a good game.
It's definitely better than when I played it like a year ago.
Stop being Anakin right now.
Right. But it needs it just, as Damo said, like, you need core functionality. You need missions to work right. You need PvP and PvE to just at least be functional. Don't worry about grenades. Just have the guns work.
I don't care about planets.
Don't worry about how much damage the left shin takes. Like, I understand you want to make it very realistic, but make it so that it's fun, and you can add new features instead of adding features and then not fixing features that are 4 years old and still broken.
It's like a car with AC but no roof and no tires. You're like, cool, I'm glad I have air conditioning.
I have AC now.
It's just gonna go in the atmosphere and I can't drive anywhere. So cool, just vents blowing cold air. So yeah. So anyways, hope that works out. I'm excited for that. But to move on from Star Citizen before I start getting frustrated thinking about all the bugs, we had a good time playing Demo.
Right.
Well,
so we're on the heels of we're on the heels of trying to add more content that is collaborative, so we if you watch the episode with Colossal Cave Adventure 3D Adventure, that was a nice collaborative effort with the people who make that game, and they were nice enough to let me try it and then have a good interview. And we ended up reaching out to the creators of Demo. I saw them and talked to them a little bit at PAX East, and they were nice enough to basically host a game for Damo, myself, and two of our friends, and they gave us some copies of the game so that we could put together a video. They want to see the video, and if you record and edit videos, you know how much you want the video to be perfect, so there's not so much post work to do.
God, yes.
But in Demo, the games are long. I mean, they're long, and thankfully they've actually instituted a save feature between levels of dungeons, so you can actually come back to the game and play. But
Yes.
basically,
Yeah.
it's a top down,
It's
almost
D&D.
D&D dice
Magic the
rolling.
Gathering.
Yeah, it's like a card game with dice rolling, and you basically your job is to kill the boss,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of fun. We recorded a 3-level game, and we got through it. So we're basically trying to put the final touches on, the highlights, because sometimes, when it's a multi-hour game, people don't want to sit and watch a multi-hour game. They just want,
No.
like, just the juice. Just they want
Yeah.
sizzle and steak. Don't
Yeah.
just,
No, you're right. We're working on it. It's gonna
Right.
be good, guys. I like Demio. My problem is that Civ is about the slowest of a game I can play, but there's so much to do in Civ all the time. Demio, I felt like I twiddled my thumbs a lot. And then shout out to Ryan, but he kind of took control, and so like I have no leadership skill management tasks to do at that time. So
Right.
I really enjoyed the game. I love the mechanics of it. Once we start doing like advanced stuff like barring up rooms and funneling enemies, like there's a lot of advanced tactics that can be put into it, and that's the stuff that I enjoy. So if I had anything to say out to the people who make Demio for future content, provide us. I would say if there's a way to speed it up, in my mind, I would like to speed up just a little bit, but more options for advanced interactions with the level. Because once we kind of start figuring things out, it wasn't so complicated anymore. And then, there's a lot of thumb twiddling, and I would like to have that time filled with something. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, look out for that.
I think that that game fits a niche. You know what I mean? Like if your friends aren't on and you're just, I have it for VR too. I actually bought it for VR in the past, and you're, I got some time to waste, or I can't sleep, or I just had a fun game I want to play again. I mean, you can hop in, you can play it, and it's good. But I mean, if it all depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for like high intensity action like Tarkov, you're not going to get that. This is a lot more strategic, and sometimes the strategy is you just can't go like guns blazing into a room or you're going to die.
I know,
So
which is hard for me.
you got to use your brain, and you got to figure out how could I make this work out. And the
But it
interesting
is
thing
satisfying when you win.
Yes, there's a lot of different creatures. The creatures get randomized, so they have a lot of different attacks. So that kind of mixes it up too, which is nice. The dungeons are randomized every time you play, so the boards aren't the same. That's good too. But I think there's a lot of positives about it. So that video will be dropping probably within a week, less than that maybe.
Yeah.
So check that out, and we'll run those videos on the YouTube channel, and we'll probably actually run them on Twitch too, just to put some Twitch content up as well, so you guys, people who are on Twitch, can watch it. But stay tuned.
Yeah,
coming very shortly.
Absolutely.
It's all about the post-production.
But yeah, Demio was fun. I know I had some complaints, but it was a fun game, and it's a real fun game to play with some friends. And if you had a fun, rowdy bunch of friends, sadly, some of the guys that we play with are very serious gamers. They're from our old Counter-Strike team, so it's all serious all the time. It's 100 miles an hour, but it's a fun game, and it would be actually a good party game, but almost Mario Kart-ish in a way. Mm-hmm. But anyways,
Absolutely.
Yeah, look out for the video. Now, there's something I did want to bring up, and I know we talked about it, and as somebody who likes to dabble in legal stuff, as we've talked about with Amber Heard and Mr. Depp, the nurse that was supposed to go to the forever jail and got out
real
of it,
jail.
So, yeah, big boy jail.
So yeah, I mean that was a big twist. That's RaDonda Vaught or Vaught, Vaught, Vaught. She was so I'm sure unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know this story. But to kind of just go through it real quick, I mean, you were talking about a nurse And, as a physician, when you work in sick units, ICUs, neonatal critical care units, emergency departments, trauma bays. I mean, these are high stress, high stakes, sick people. This isn't like I'm going to my family doctor because I have a sore throat. This is like my right lung is completely collapsed and I have no blood pressure. So this is real sick stuff. So, what ends up happening, and there's a great process that a lot of healthcare systems are adapting, and it's called HRO. It's high reliability organizations, and HRO is taught um, in like the airline industry, for example. It's basically like highly reliable, eliminate chance for errors, and what they use is they call it the Swiss cheese model. So basically, like you have a process and it has holes in it, right? Those are the possible errors, but you have another layer of cheese behind it where the holes aren't the same, so the straight line of error can't make it through the two slices of cheese.
Like a filter.
Right, but occasionally, if all the holes line up, an error gets through multiple different fail-safes, and badness can occur. And in this case, this nurse was supposed to be giving a sedative for someone who was having imaging done in the radiology department. Sometimes you're in an MRI or CAT scan, it's claustrophobic, and they were trying to get, you can't have movement in these because people get nervous. So they give a sedative, but instead of using Valium, I believe it was Valium, the patient got vecuronium, which is a curare derivative medicine, which is a paralytic agent, which basically stops all muscle activity, including the muscles that make you breathe.
Oh no!
So
it's like succinylcholine, right? Is that what it is? I remember that.
yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah, that's a shorter acting one, but vecuronium is a longer acting one. So basically, what ends up happening is like there are medicines that have certain requirements to them because they're dangerous medicines. So a medicine that might stop you breathing, yeah, you would consider that to be a potentially dangerous medicine, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Sometimes, sometimes the medicines are, you have to type in the whole drug name in the Omnicell or Pyxis, which are the big machines that the medicines are locked in. You have to usually log in either with your badge or a fingerprint. You got to tap the patient who's getting it, and then you have to type in the name of the drug. I guess probably Valium and vecuronium were really close, and I think she hit the wrong medicine. That was the first thing. Then she gets the medicine out, and Valium normally is a liquid. Vecuronium is a powder that has to be reconstituted, which means usually you have to put in like sterile water into the vial and mix it, right? So it dissolves the powder and makes the medicine that you draw up. So that's a difference, right? That got missed. The wrong medicine was picked. Some medicines, and I'm not sure if this is one of them for that hospital, need 2 nurses to sign off in order to use it. I don't think that was done here.
Wow.
The paralytic drugs have a red cap on them. And there's medicines that have a red cap, which usually like warn you like this is a dangerous medicine, and it says like paralytic in red on the bottle. That was missed. So there was all these different things that she had to do, all these errors in a row. So this is the hole in the Swiss cheese, like hole 1, hole 2, hole 3, hole 4. The error got to the patient. Patient dies. So
can you imagine suffocating an MRI machine?
That's horrific. That's horrific. So, basically, you give the medicine, and if you're not in the room with the patient, and the patient's not breathing. And was the patient put on a monitor? If someone is put on a medicine that's a sedative, they should be on a monitor, right? If you're sedating people, they should have their heart rate, their blood pressure, their oxygen levels monitored. I don't think that happened here. And again, I apologize. I don't know all the 100% of the details. I just know that there was a lot of fail safes that should have caught this and they didn't. And it's because people skirt the different processes that are in place to keep people safe.
That's
and I don't
crazy
think,
to me.
Obviously no one is doing it on purpose, but if you're
There's some
busy, if
incompetence
you're
in there.
running around, you've done it 1,000 times, you get into a groove, oh, you just let me grab this thing, and they don't even look, and it's just, it can happen in any job, but in some jobs, it's just there's a lot more risk with that behavior. And this is the first time they were actually going to bring criminal charges. Usually, these things are handled within the hospital or hospital system themselves, but now it became a possible criminal charge act for like, what is it, like criminally negligent homicide, or I forget what they called it, but it was,
That's crazy.
and everyone thought that she was going to be put in jail. I mean, including her. And this is this is this is a bigger case for healthcare in general, much more than just this nurse herself, because a lot of people were, basically backing her, outside of the courthouse because of what this court case could mean. So it means that, to err is human, right? Everybody's going to make mistakes. Some obviously not that bad, right? Obviously. But you're basically going to be now working in a job that everyone is going to say, wow, if I make a mistake, I might go to jail. And that's a big deterrent for people to go into that line of work.
I mean, it's common in law. It's a precedent. You've said something that somebody's been punished for something. As a lawyer, that's what they're going to do. They're going to use that against another, because their job's to win. You know what I mean? Hey, this person versus this person. So
right, and they'll use this case as an example of that, as a reason to do it. So basically, I think she ended up she got her license suspended, and then she's on 3 years of probation. I think that's what she got.
I'm always really torn about this, because like I agree that the there's a reason why it's called practicing medicine, right? There's so much we don't know. And again, you're the doctor, I'm not, which is why you get messages from me like 10 o'clock at night with just stupidity filled in them, because I have no idea how the body works. But at the same time, you killed a human being with incompetence. And 3 years probation and having your license suspended is very minor.
It is.
So hopefully there's a lesson learned here, and the administration comes into play and tries to, prevent that from happening again.
I think 100% that decision was made because of the bigger picture. Because you know what? You need nurses, you need doctors, you need techs.
It was for the greater good. It was for the greater good.
Yeah, and if basically, I mean, people aren't going to want to do the job.
No.
You'll be like, wow, like, I can make a mistake. I can get caught up. We're going to say, like, sometimes, someone is in the middle of crashing. I mean, you got to sometimes override the system, or someone's going to die. And you need to have that ability in the rarity when it exists, but you can't do it all the time.
Right.
And, and so either you're going to take away the ability to bypass anything. So what if the machine breaks that you get the drugs out of? What if it loses its network connection and now you can't get meds out? Like, you need to be able to get around this. Right. Well, not at 3 a.m. They're not. They'll be like, "Yeah, we'll get to it Monday." You're like, "But there's 25 patients here now."
Submit a ticket.
Right. Is this an urgent ticket or a routine ticket?
Let me escalate you to tier 3. Sorry, go ahead.
So basically, I mean, I think that would be my idea why this happened. But I mean, I think that's the answer that needs to be.
Right.
And maybe people, and it doesn't stop them from trying again, I guess, if it happens again. So maybe that will be something that people put in the back of their mind when they're doing stuff. But,
right.
The reason why, this job is the way it is because there's a lot of adrenaline. There's a lot of sick people, and sometimes you got to move.
Yeah, that's tough.
Bad's going to happen.
That's tough. So I think the right thing, lesson.
I think the right thing ended up happening, but I think that, it's probably somewhat, it's got to be someone on the hospital side too, as far as like, whether or not, did they have adequate staffing? Are they running around like that? Is it because the culture like that because there's not enough people? Is the culture laziness? Is the culture that the IT doesn't work right and no one's listening to them, so they have to work around it all the time in order to just try to get by? Or is the person just, just
Dumb.
not caring. So it could be a billion different reasons, but it's it is what it is. But I really didn't think that never thought that was going to be the way that turned out. But that's how it turned out.
Please don't paralyze my lungs, guys. An MRI, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, thanks.
I'd be a little mad, just a little mad, Yeah, no, it's like I watched that Dr. Death about that surgeon who's just like wrecking people, and then like I went and got hernia surgery done like 3 days later, and I was like,
yeah, you don't watch that ahead of time.
Please don't cut my guts open and then screw up. Yeah. please. Yeah. I'm at your hands, anesthesiologist, surgeon guy, all the guys in between.
Like, we removed that leg. You're good now. What are you talking about?
I see it. It's really funny is I see a lot on TikTok. I see a lot of those DNR memes where like they resuscitate the guy and they're like, use the DNR, and they're like, oh shit. It's like them like going home, getting their suitcase, getting on a plane, going to another country. Right. Is it that bad, by the way? If you resuscitate with the DNR, like, is it like, do you get in a lot of trouble?
It's never happened to me. It's never happened to me. But the point is that the way it has to go is this. You are going to resuscitate people with a DNR all the time. And the reason why that happens usually is because the doctors and nurses in the emergency department or in the ICU don't have that information. It's usually the ER because, as the person's been in the hospital longer, they can get a hold of this stuff. But I mean, put it this way. Somebody goes into, somebody has a stroke, right? And they call the ambulance, and the ambulance has a 40-minute drive. The ambulance is gonna haul ass to the hospital. Now, say somewhere in the middle of that hospital ride, the person goes into a cardiac arrest. Now, they took the patient from the home. They don't have paperwork. They didn't think they necessarily had to ask for the DNR paperwork. They didn't ask for it. They didn't know what's going on. They get to the hospital. So you're not going to like say, well, just put that person in the back in cardiac arrest and we'll make some phone calls and see. You're going to have to run the code.
You got seconds, right? Yeah.
You're going to have to run the code until someone is able to produce a document that states that this person is a do not resuscitate. And then, or something called a PULST form, which is physician's orders for life-sustaining treatment. That's a legal document as well. And you need to have that document. And sometimes you get the document, there's no date on it, it's not signed, so then it's not legitimate. I mean, you could have a whole bunch of crap.
Right.
Or you have a paper from the nursing home that says, because the person is like, very bad dementia, they can't tell you. The nursing home paperwork says full code, means do everything. And then they have paperwork with them that says do not resuscitate. And now you're like, now what do I do?
Right.
And then, so basically you're going to err on the side of running the code,
right?
Because you're not going to take that chance of being wrong.
Right.
So that's kind of where it gets the most hairy. I guess theoretically, and there's cases where people have successfully sued healthcare systems for being alive.
Thank you for saving my life, but fuck you at the same time. Just so you
right.
know.
I mean, that happened. That can happen. I mean, it doesn't happen often, but I mean, think about it. Like if you like, some people are like, listen, I would never want to be in a vegetative state, or I would never want, it doesn't even have to be a vegetative state. I would never want to have somebody have to take care of me 24/7. Right.
I know.
I can still talk. I can make my needs known, but I can't get dressed. I can't feed myself. I can't do all these other things. So people had a full day where they can do whatever they want, and now they need 24/7 care. Some people would rather not be alive than have that, and that's, I guess, their prerogative.
I know. So I always tell my friends, take me out back.
Right. They could be very mad. They were brought back. They can able their talk. They can make their needs known, but they can't do anything. And my whole life now is I'm going to sit in a chair, and they're going to point me out the window, and I'm just going to stare out the window all day long.
They should just allow you
some
to take
people
it
don't
back.
Want that.
Like, all right, we're sorry. So we're gonna go ahead and just put you back the way we code. It's gonna be all right, man. It's gonna be painless, but sorry, our bad. See ya.
Yeah. That's another.
It's a joke. That's a dark joke.
That's another tidbit for the episode 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's crazy. Well, case. I'm gonna do some research on that myself. I'm curious. I have a lot of family and friends in the medical industry. Obviously, my best friend Doc here. You know, you being in the medical stuff. So I have a weird fascination with it. You know what I mean? You're surrounded by it.
Yeah,
But
constantly.
with that sadness and happiness, I guess, going both ways. Because if I wreck somebody with a drug that paralyzes their lungs, got 3 years probation, I would probably party. Um, uh, let's talk about Arma for a second. I guess to
Oh
wrap it up,
yeah, Arma.
because you posted that in our chat, and I was like, I don't talk, dude. Arma's garbage. I played a
Yeah.
lot of Arma the years, and I was like, I don't believe you. And then I saw the Forge video, and I was like, oh my god. Other than it's super broken right now.
Yeah, I mean, I have to actually check. You know what? While I'm on here, let me just check. But I mean, you know, Glenn and I bought this game as soon as it dropped, and I posted that document on the Discord. Join the Discord, by the way. Um, I dropped that
Please.
document on there because somebody got a hold of it, you know, before it was released and what was going to come. And basically, Arma Reforger is supposed to be. No, there was one update for it, by the way, about a 400 megabyte update that happened, like dropped, I think the day yesterday or the day before, which fixed a lot of the net code stuff. But it dropped, and basically the document said that Arma Reforger is supposed to be the new engine, and it's escaping me what the engine's name is, but it's the new engine that's supposed to be used for Arma 4. But I guess they're starting on a low scale right now. So the map in Arma Reforger is much smaller than the huge map that Armas traditionally have had, like Arma 2 and Arma 3. So this is a very smooth running, high quality animation, zoom in, zoom out, very smooth kind of engine. It's quick, it's easy to use, but getting into a game was absolutely impossible, and I was really upset because I was hoping that this wasn't going to be a long-standing issue. Because of course, what is it? It feels like 75% of the games on Steam tend to be early access, at least if you want a new title. You don't get it dropped as new usually. You get it dropped as early access. So, you know, there's going to be some bugs. There's going to be some playability issues. I get it. Game may crash once in a while, but you couldn't even get into anything. It just nothing worked.
Right, that's what I heard.
It was horrible. But the patch seemed to fix probably 70% of that. Sometimes it says it can't connect, but
so is the hit rate reasonable now, or
is the what? I'm sorry, say that again.
Is the hit rate reasonable now?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's the other thing. Remember, like, you don't hit a bush with a vehicle and the car blows up. The vehicle blows up, so you don't have that problem.
Fix that? They fixed that.
Yeah, they did.
Good.
You drive over stuff.
Nice.
Stairs. There's only a handful of vehicles right now, but you can equip your soldier. You hit tab. There's a whole inventory. Each piece of your clothing has slots for holding things. You can hold 2 rifles. You can hold a pistol. You can have bandages and other things, and you can kind of loot people after they die. And you know, it's kind of like Arma meets Squad right now.
Interesting. Okay.
That's what Arma Reforger is, and I think right now it's pretty cool. It's definitely not ready for prime time. It's not even close, but it's a big step in the right direction compared to the way other Armas played. And Armas were, I believe, you correct me if I'm wrong, they were more CPU than GPU.
Initially,
stressing, right?
Yeah, the original design of the game, the original engine, relied heavily on CPU. The development, the engineering behind it, just they weren't leveraging. This programming to run on graphics cards is actually pretty complicated. So being a smaller team, I'm just talking my ass, but I'm assuming that they were just like, it's easier to do it this way, right? And they did it that way, and you know, because there's no reason why an i9 10900X I should be getting hundreds of frames in Arma 3. So this game seems that they worked a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah.
it seems like this is working a lot better. So
Oh, it is. It's definitely very hard GPU accelerated. Um, it's smooth as butter in game. It's just the network right now.
it seems like, excuse me, sorry guys, it's been a long day. I'm still recovering from Vegas. It seems like there's people are still upset with some of the issues. So buy it if you're an Arma fanboy and you love Arma, just get her done. But if you're one of those guys who gets frustrated with early access games, I would say wait a couple
Yeah,
months.
might be good to wait a little bit. Yeah, and you're just think about it. Your payment of $30 right now is fueling development for Arma 4.
And we need a new Arma. We
We do. So it's probably a little bit of a cash grab too. Not to mention
They
testing out
need money. Yeah.
testing out the new game, testing out the new engine, making a little small scale while they build the bigger scale and grab a couple bucks while they're at it. But it's not as broken as Star Citizen. But take that back. If you can't even get into the game, then theoretically it is
Hey,
broken.
sometimes
more than Star Citizen.
sometimes I couldn't even get into Star Citizen, so
Right.
arguable. But yeah, I'm gonna have to buy that. We'll have to play that. I'm interested.
Yeah,
See
it's interesting.
see how that goes. But there's just no new games these days, so like there's
No.
not a lot of options out there. You're really grasping on what you can get your hands on. That's
You are. Guess what I forgot to even bring up on our list of talking topics today. Guess what? I got an email yesterday.
okay.
My Stream Deck is ready to ship.
Oh, that's exciting. I know that's been in order for a while.
I'm gonna have to do that video on that. Yeah, that was over a year. I think it was either 5 or 10 or $20. You had to put it down to
Holy
reserve
moly.
a spot to purchase it, and it comes off the price of the unit. Like it's just kind of reserving your space. But I mean, this thing was supposed to be out a long time ago, and
That's
I know they
crazy.
ran into some hitches, and now I should have it Wednesday, so I should have it in 2 days. So I bought the 256 gig model. There's I think a 128, and then there's a 256 and a 512 gig model, and it's basically like a Switch and Steam put together. Had a baby, and that's what it is.
Well, I'm
I think you
excited
can
to see
actually, I think you can actually plug it into a monitor, keyboard, and mouse too,
Yeah.
and literally kind
It
of
runs
like
off
use it
Linux.
as a PC. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Linux. I know you can install other OSs on it. I would like to do some crazy stuff. I would like to try to put Windows on an external drive, see if I can boot to it, see if I can run other crap. I'd like to see what kind of stuff I can do, and I'm purposely not reading a ton about it because I want to be surprised. I know because some of the reviewers, some of the big time YouTubers, they've already have theirs. They've had theirs for a couple months, and I don't want to watch all that. I want to be surprised.
Yeah, I'm interested to see your video. I've seen them on like Linus Tech Tips and other YouTubers, things like that, and I'm like, I'm not a big console guy, but it's always really grasped my interest because it's like really merging the boundaries of handheld and PC gaming, that's a valley to gap. So
And that's a tough implementation.
yeah, I'm interested to see how they do. It's got good reviews, so I'm looking forward to that. Well, I don't think there's much else for us. We are running kind of long, so I apologize, guys. I got carried away. I'm good at that. Doctor needs to tell me to shut up more often. But
we need a buzzer. We need a sound button.
We do. If you're listening to this in the car, thank you for letting us entertain your commute. If you're watching this on YouTube, please check out other videos. I know right now we have a ton of stuff everywhere, but guys, we are working on it. I promise. If you are our criteria people who are watching our content, you know what it feels like to work long hours, and have a lot of events and things that are going on in your life, and then you try to maximize everything you can in between. And but every once in a while, we also need to just lay on the floor and let the back rest, if you know what I mean. So,
there's a great meme, and it's I think I put it on the Discord, and I definitely sent it to my wife. But it was a guy talking to his son, and he said, "You know what? When you get older, you can buy all the games you want and never have time to play them." And that's the that's the irony of life. So, you know,
It
you're
is.
juggling family, a wife, kids, career, other things that you do outside of hobbies, you know, whether or not maybe you play tennis or whatever, you
Right.
swim,
Right.
golf, whatever. And then, you know, we enjoy doing this. So this is like a hobby for us. So it's
Right.
not that bad, but still it's still time requirement. So you still
Yeah.
got to make the time, and you still
Yep.
got to put it in.
But yeah, just keep checking the channel, guys. We got Dabbles coming up soon again. We've dabbled a couple other different games. You know, we're gonna see how those play out. You know, the thing is because we're so new, we are really behind the scenes. We are jumping in a lot of different pools to figure out what we think is the best. We're trying a lot of different drinks. We're going on a lot of different vacations. We're really trying to figure things out, and it doesn't always look forward, doesn't always show in front. But I promise you, there's a lot going on the back end, and we are moving forward with some stuff. So we're gonna get Diablo out again because we're on Act 2, and I love that game. You know, I got Dune coming for you guys again. I got some of that recorded already. I'm gonna finish it up. That game's a lot of fun, and actually the reason why I haven't done it is because I like it too much, and it takes too much of my time. But more moto vlogs coming too. I'm gonna try to get those out once a week. On Monday is gonna be the new schedule, so Moto Monday. Just see how that rolls out. Just getting time. It's been a little cold here, and as much as I can ride in 45-degree weather, my hands do get cold. So when the summer kicks in, there'll be a lot more going on, guys, and a lot to show for. So, but yeah, please hang out, visit, listen, watch, yell, dislike, like, whatever, throw pies at us.
Comments.
What do you want to do? Comments
help too, right? So yeah, just to reiterate, you know, we've got Facebook material, TikTok material, Instagram material, Twitter material.
Yep.
And then, you know, the podcast itself,
Instagram. Do we say
as Damo
Instagram?
said, I think maybe, if not, Instagram material. Then you got the podcast on YouTube. You have it on Apple Podcasts, and now it's on Spotify.
Yep.
Spotify and Anchor, I guess, are kind of the same thing. So if you use Anchor Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, you'll get that there too.
Yep.
So great for a drive, great for chilling out and relaxing.
Yep.
Throw us on your smart TV, you know,
and then
binge watch, you know, 5 episodes, and then it'll be time to get up for work.
Discord. Come check the Discord out. There's a lot of fun guys here. They're on all the time. You can always find Dak or my buddy Tap, Louis 2 Tap, Tay. She's funny. They're all great people. Come check us out. We want the community to grow. Actually, I want to shout out Louis Tap because he's been commenting on all our stuff, and he watches all our content, and he messages me about it all the time. And sometimes it can be pretty, you know, from his kind of side of the fence. That I was impressed, so I wanted to shout him out. He's on Twitch, Louis 2 Tap. Check him out. He does a lot of really fun content. He's a really cool guy. But yeah, please check our stuff out. Please go to the Discord, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right, guys, have a good one. Peace.